Help me, Robert the Bruce. You're my only hope.
What's up, YeshGamers? Robert the Bruce here, dropping a little bit of that Jakku hotness. Now, turning point on Jakku can be a tricky beast, and while yes, the team you're on does make a difference, I also want to point out that sometimes it just takes one group of a few players making smart decisions to help a mediocre team kick it up to 11 and come out with a sweet victory. So today, I'm focusing on attack strategies. So this first clip is one of the favorite opening moves of me and my crew, and that is to book it up the left side as fast as possible. Use your jetpacks to cover ground quickly, and just get there ASAP. You also saw that when we arrived at the capture point, I kicked out a scan pulse to give us all info of any enemies that might have gone there quickly as well. Now the good news is, for some reason most players start this map out on defense thinking they gotta get to the center point first. Almost always you see the majority of guys rolling up the middle, so we always choose the left side. Now once we're here, it's all about using cover and catching the enemy approach before they get too close. For this first wave, I highly recommend you take a longer range weapon, like the E11 I'm using here. The more you can pick off bad guys as they try and get there, the longer you can hold this point. Again, I also recommend that scan pulse here because being able to fire that off regularly gives you the advantage over any enemies that have gotten in close. Now, even if they send tons of baddies your way and they clear you all out, at least that means other points are less defended, so it's a win either way. As you can see here though, we rocked it out, kept the advantage on our side, and got a quick first wave capture for our team. Really starts the round off well. Next, we're going to look at traveling between points when you've got to push forward. It can be super tricky, especially when the enemy team is full of players dropping those pulse shots on you from a distance. Here it all boils down to something I like to call compartmentalization, which is a fun way of saying take it one step at a time. I'm not charging full force, just hoping not to get noticed in order to cover ground quickly. And while yes, time is a factor, you don't want to be scared and waste tons of time behind cover, it also doesn't do you any good to be charging through the open, dying over and over. Instead, compartmentalize each stretch of open ground. Don't focus only on getting to the capture point. Mentally break it down and think, okay, here's a dangerous stretch of open area. I've got to get from the cover I'm behind right now up to that next bit of cover, and attack the problem that way. Quickly scan the area for potential threats. Neutralize those that you must, but also don't just be firing off unnecessary shots, giving yourself away. As you cross each bit of ground, you'll suddenly find you've made it all the way to the cap point, and probably busted up some enemies along the way. And so now that you've ninja'd your way here, and you're kind of feeling like Solid Snake, it's time to play smart at the objective 2. Here you can tell I'm not capping it, so there are obviously some enemies around. Again, the scan pulse is vital at this point. Now if you're Daryl Dixon, the scan pulse would be like your crossbow, you just gotta have it. I'm not charging in, drawing attention, trying to Rambo my way through Call of Duty style. I'm picking off threats behind cover as I can, keeping the advantage on my side. This benefits you in two ways. First, it makes any camping enemies in the cap zone eventually want to come hunt you down. Now with the scan pulse, you'll know where they're coming from, and it forces them to engage you on your terms. Second, you're helping keep the capture point manageable, so that eventually, when your teammates do show up, they will help tip the scales, and you guys can start capturing. Lastly, let's cover ways to attack the final point, and this is undoubtedly the hardest one to take. It's gloriously chaotic and very rewarding to take down, so it's my personal favorite moment of playing Turning Point on this map. Now earlier you may have noticed I picked up an orbital strike, and yes, that's right, I saved it all the way until now because it is a powerful weapon. It only makes sense to use it on the toughest part of the map. I need to take a moment also to say very clearly something that so many players either don't know or, more likely, are too afraid to do. And that is, when it comes to this final point capture, you've got to be like the person bagging groceries at the store. You've got to sack up. No more namby-pamby sitting back saying, hey, I'll cover you guys. Garbage. Get in the capture zone. It's only taken by sheer force at this point. So if just 2 or 3 of your teammates are trying, you will lose every time without fail. And if you're one of the guys sitting back, providing cover fire, well, the loss is your fault. You've got to get warm bodies in the cap zone, end of story. A few other tips to help. Like I did here, save your powerful power-ups for this final point. Also, I still like the scan pulse here, but a buddy of mine will usually switch to using the personal shield. That's also a very good option, because he can stay alive in the cap zone that much longer. And finally, if you manage to get a few seconds of control of this area, start trying to take down enemies as they are bottlenecked into small areas entering the zone. Once again, this keeps the advantage on your side. That's it for the attack strategies. I'll be dropping a video before long for defense strategies as well. I'd greatly appreciate if you'd spend a precious mouse click on that like button and hit me up in the comments below. Yes, I do read them all. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I'll see you on the battlefield.